I'm going to go very surface level on this because there are multiple different kinds of joint replacements. There's multiple different surgery approaches, and a joint replacement on a knee is going to be different than a hip, so on and so forth. But the overarching theme of information stays the same. If a joint needs to be replaced, there are some simple questions that need to be asked. Why isn't it the other side that needs to be replaced at the same time? What is it about this side that degraded faster than the other side? What am I doing on my left that's different than my right? And I start any joint replacement conversation with that narrative because you can replace the joint, but if you don't work on the compensation and dysfunction mechanisms that put that joint into a state of breakdown, then we're going to be in that category of a lot of people who have kind of had your experience. And I don't know who asked this, so I'm going to speak very, very general and blanket, which is you get the structure replaced, but the soft tissue function never changes. We never worked on changing that. So even though we have a brand new joint, the pain's still there. And even though the brand new joint is replaced, the movement pattern of asymmetry and the compensations that show up is still alive. So one of two things happens. Either we fly through that joint replacement and we have to get it replaced sooner than the actual recommended because we're breaking down. Your body doesn't have the ability to repair the artificial material like it would the organic material of a natural joint. So we kind of run through a replacement faster than recommended. Or we're just going to find different ways to shift and compensate, and it will be a matter of time until the other side needs replacement. So I say all of that because if we have the surgery, great, right? We can't do anything about that. But what we can do is work on the function and the compensatory mechanisms of the entire body around that hip replacement or that knee replacement. What we're having here is we have 8 load joints: ankles, knees, hips, and shoulders. 8. When you replace one of those joints, it is not an if, it's a how the other joints are going to have to figure out how to compensate for you. And just think of the rehab time. Um, Even the rehab time, we're talking, it can be anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months where movement is immediately impacted by the surgery. When that surgery is done, obviously there's pain, there's trauma to the area, as any surgery would imply. Your body is going to brilliantly and thankfully, rightfully so, compensate to help you not put as much weight, pressure, load, force, and impact on that leg. So this is where this therapy can really be helpful in helping to reduce compensation levels. So we're not spending 6 months avoiding and having to work almost kind of like asymmetrically here post surgery. And then we develop these new compensation patterns on top of the underlying hip issue. So I think the question, and I'm sorry if I'm going off track here because there's a lot to talk about with replacements. Um, Ideally, the replacement doesn't replace the work that needs to be done. It might help us have a functional enough joint. Maybe we are bone on bone. Maybe the cartilage has been broken down. But this is about getting to, maybe we had to get that replacement to get functional enough so we could do the work. Because I understand if there's that much damage and degeneration, we might not even be able to do the exercises or any of the physical therapy that you've been through because of the trauma in the hip. So if you've had to get that surgery, I'm happier in this program because we still have the underlying cause of why that hip degenerated faster than the other hip. That's got to be addressed.